What's going on, nerds? My name is Jesse, and we are back with another video. Today we got a reaction of everything great about Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Like I said, we're going to do all 8 films. I did the first film a couple of days ago, and I'm going to try to pump these out. If you're liking them, please let me know. And yeah, let's hop into it. Alright, let's do it. Got the Harry Potter shirt on today, Hogwarts. Not to mention the Deathly Hallows necklace.
And Wizard
Every day, never leave the house without it.
The Dursleys' neighborhood is the same, uniform, stifling, and bland.
This is all the same.
Dobby's CGI is really not that bad for 2002.
Nah, I think it looks pretty good,
they
really.
Even added dust particles in the air from him jumping on the bed. Also, my wife thinks he's just the cutest. Personally, I think he looks like a hairless cat.
Never has he been asked to sit down by
I had the weirdest love-hate relationship with Dobby. Like, when I first saw him, I was like, this is such a weird character, but then you just come to love him over the series, you know.
Thoughtfulness.
You just ruined the punchline of my Japanese golfer joke.
So then he prevented racism. That's worth a win. Uncle Dursley is so easy to despise. The way he talks, the angle at which he's filmed. Classic hateable character. And whenever
The way he closes his like left eye.
trying to buff the birthmark off his butt.
I'm telling you.
What is this dessert? It's not cake. Pudding in the shape of a cake is my American showing. As hard as these intros always are to the soul, they give a real sense of relief and elation as a contrast to Hogwarts.
I'm a finished carpenter, okay? So I use screw guns every day, nail guns every day, hammer every day. So seeing construction in movies, it's just so cringe to me.
As hard as these intros always are,
that's quality right there. Like, Jesus Christ, why even show him if you're not going to actually show him putting in the fucking screw?
Quick little misdirection. Must be
right,
Hagrid on
you think it's
flying
Hagrid's bike,
right?
yeah.
Nope.
Or Sirius's bike.
So when the beast earns a girl's love, will the knitting needles and scrubber turn back into humans?
Wait, it's not much, but it's home.
I think it's brilliant.
Another simple moment from Harry that really makes you care for him. A house of love is all you could ask for.
Well, you best hope I don't
love
put bars
Molly,
on
man.
your window, Donald Weasley. Come on, Harry. Time for spotted breakfast.
There's a whole other movie in here recounting Mrs. Weasley's bipolar disorder, but it warms the heart to see someone care for Harry. Young love, where admiration, infatuation, and addiction all get...
She gets better later in the series. Ginny does, or whoever plays Ginny, I forget. She does show up to all the Harry Potter like events and stuff, which is really cool because not a lot of the big talent, like the big three, hardly ever show up to the Harry Potter events. But the first couple of movies with her are so bad. I don't know if it's just because she's young or she got some bad direction, or either way, she gets better later in the series, like especially 6, 7, 8. She's really good, but these first couple set it up to where all the book fans pretty much hated her in the movies and loved her in the books, which is a shame.
Blurred together and running away is always your best flirting option.
Flew that enchanted car of yours to Surrey and back.
Surrey and back.
Did you really? How'd it go?
Parenting win.
Gotta
and
love
a
'em.
family continuity win considering all the mischief Fred and George get into in the future. Flue powder. Because being consumed by green fire really is the only way to travel. Finally some really witchy looking witches. Is that racist? It feels racist.
Gilroy Lockhart.
Ha! Get it? Lockhart? Because he has a secret locked in his heart.
Right.
Rolling. You and your names. I'm not knocking the organizational style of wizards, but sometimes
I mean, normally her names are a little less like on the nose. Like that one's like on the nose. Like Sirius is like Greek for dog or whatever. Stuff like that. It's usually a little bit like you have to dig a little bit.
Like this stack of books. What are you supposed to do with that? But it is a unique aesthetic that goes along with nothing ever being plumb, level, or square. Gives the wizarding world some real edge.
Yeah, that bums me out.
Leave him alone.
Standing up for your friend/obsession. What's it like to know that you make a great villain? Does Jason Isaacs lay in bed at night and think, you know, my fans believe I'd totally revel in burning people alive in a church. Or kidnap and experiment on people. P.S. Go watch the OA.
Lucius Malfoy.
More to the point,
Lucius.
another on-the-nose name from Rowling that may be more subtle in written word.
Lucifer.
Malice, Foil. A little character continuity with Mr. Weasley interrogating the muggles in the background.
Red hair, vacant expression.
Now, he may be as ginger as the day is long, but if my previous video proved anything, it's that Ron is anything but vacantly expressed.
You got that
One
lightning
book
round.
out, 2 books in. Gotta love that sleight of hand getting Tom's diary into Ginny's possession.
Oh no! The invisibility booster must be faulty!
Sorry, just woke up, man.
Beautiful, fun, intense sequence. And Harry gets an arm strength win. So in the first movie, Harry taking the train to Hogwarts was special enough because it was the first time. Now, Rowling decided to make him even more special by having him and Ron arrive by car, and obviously almost get murdered by a tree in the process. Point is, Harry is never status quo, which makes us all feel special.
It's not
Shout out to the Whomping Willow, also known as my gaming clan. Appreciate it, Whomping Willows.
Anyway, with Walder Red Wedding
Shout
Frey
out.
lurking around.
Not to mention the damage you inflicted on a Whomping Willow that's been on these grounds
Since before you were born.
Alan
God, I
Rickman
love
and his
Alan Rickman,
conservational
dude.
sensibilities is still always a win.
Mandrake, or Mandragora, is used to...
You know, out of all the movies, I'm pretty sure Chamber of Secrets is the one I've seen the most times. Like, cause I'm 27, so when I was growing up, these movies and books came out, like, I was around the same age as the characters. So when I was growing up, they were coming out, and I think it was Channel 51 where I was at, was like ABC Family, or something like that, and it played Chamber of Secrets all the fucking time, and I loved Harry Potter, so I'd always watch it, and I think I've seen this one the most times just for the fact that it was always on ABC Family.
Those who've been petrified to their original state.
Petrification shadowing?
Say it. I'm doomed.
You're doomed.
You're doomed.
Honesty. Is Neville hung from something in every film? 2 out of 2 so far.
Well, this is where you get the classic line.
Rodeo Pixie. Saving all your friends.
At least no one on the Gryffindor team.
They
had
didn't
to
show the
fight
why
that
it's
way.
always me
Another
lines? Wow.
sick incendio.
Eat
Tilted.
slugs.
This is the first of many nopes in this movie, but it does set up Lockhart's memory spell for
Ugh.
later. But still, no. I can imagine everyone...
I love that there's no like rules to the wand so far because this is only the second movie or second book. But I love that a broken wand can backfire. I think that's like a cool
Everyone involved in
idea.
the first film was a little nervous to see how these child actors would turn out. Most improved goes to Emma Watson, who just gets better and better as time goes on.
Yeah, I
More
agree.
to the point, they've yet to think of a spell that our Hermione can do. Don't you think on it, Hermione. Don't you think on it for 1 minute.
Sympathy,
Hagrid, man.
sensitivity, friendship, heck, even eloquence. Hagrid is just the best.
Celebrity is as celebrity does.
Whatever that means.
Can I give a win for self-assured nonsense? I think so. It's rubbish, but he thinks it's crucial.
We just found him when he said...
When I said I wasn't hungry.
Let this be a lesson to you kids. If you don't want adults to be constantly suspicious of you, don't constantly lie.
Even in the
That's good
wizarding
advice.
world, hearing voices isn't a good sign.
She's right, you know.
So as long as I just hear pictures talking, I'm not crazy. Got it.
Right. Same.
As our Slytherin believed magical learning should be kept within all magic families. Purebloods.
I love that she
And
like
evil-
plays with her wand in this scene because I think that she's like uneasy talking about this. I don't know if that's supposed to come through or if it's just that she's fiddling around, but I always felt that when I saw this scene.
Sway the others, they decided to leave the school.
I'm confused. Everyone gave me a hard time for calling Slytherin House evil, but was Salazar not a failed magical Hitler? I've got to shout out the detail in this film again. Even though the blackboard writing is oddly backwards.
For
you know
some
any
reason.
inside knowledge on that? It's not because it's a flipboard, it's horizontally backwards. Is this entire scene shot in a mirror? Anyway, it's extremely detailed, as is everything in Hogwarts. Every piece of furniture, every book in the library. Constantly impressed. The blending of
I'd
CG
love to do
with
some, like,
actual
set
actors
design
and
or
Quidditch
something.
matches
That'd be
much
cool.
more seamless this time around. Flying V, stop using the Mighty Ducks moves.
Ah, I love
As if
Mighty
Quidditch
Ducks.
isn't entertaining enough to watch. It is. Pretty much every time we see Harry on the pitch, something or someone is trying to kill him. And the chase in and out of the support structures adds a whole new level of
Yeah, I
danger.
always thought that was fucking
Saving your
rad.
friend. Again. Seriously. Everyone would be dead like 10 times over if Hermione wasn't around.
I will fix that arm of yours straight away.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's 100% true. But the fact that nobody ever does anything before Hermione does something just makes no sense to me. Like, how many adults are out there going, hey, maybe we should do something? I don't know. Okay, that happens throughout the whole series.
Not you.
Intuition.
Point is,
Yeah, it's no
you can
longer
no
broke.
longer feel any pain.
Nah. Scaligro. Bona fide results. Come on, I didn't even need to make a pun. It's right there in the bottle. Although she should have said
Shout out
bon
to my
appetit.
cat, Molly Weasley, walking around in the background.
Again? You mean...
Man, you really threw that out there, Columbus, didn't you?
Moaning Myrtle?
Moaning Myrtle's voice has to be mentioned. She has a
Yeah.
serious range from these low growls to high-pitched screeches, and an infectious laugh. Shirley Henderson's line delivery in general is superb.
Isn't she like 35 or something at the time of filming this flick,
I really
too?
need to learn that smug smile with your mouth only that Snape has mastered.
Scared Potter. You wish.
Self-confidence.
Love this scene.
Would it have been confusing if Malfoy started laughing after the tickling spell? Probably a good call to just look stunned.
Oh, this was
Et tu,
after.
Ginny? Et tu?
It's after the parcel mouse scene. Not a bad
That's an
transformation.
impressive 2002 CG transformation.
Yeah, same.
Hell.
And some major props to the actors portraying Crabbe and Goyle for pulling off Harry and Ron.
They must have had some fun with
Great
that.
lip syncing as well. Let this be a lesson to you kids. If someone ever claims their name is Riddle, assume it's at the very least an anagram or a pseudonym. This piece of Williams' score was used in the restricted section of the library scene from the last movie, and it's such a perfect fit for setting the uncomfortable tone of mystery in this scene. Goodness, I love the desaturation of this memory sequence. And it seems like they may have oversaturated Harry's red sweater to make him stand out as well.
Yeah, he
Such
pops.
a functional aesthetic.
Is there something you wish to tell me?
No, sir. Nothing.
Mirror moment of Dumbledore asking Harry the same question and Tom offering the same response.
Love the actor who plays Tom Riddle. I feel like he nails it.
No, sir.
The kid that plays that's cast as Tom Riddle in the later films, I think, is a little on the nose and a little bit, you know, just like off-putting. Like, how could you ever think that that kid could have potential to be a good kid? Whereas this Tom Riddle is very charismatic and seems like a very upstanding kid when he's actually doing much sinister things, which is a lot more interesting in my opinion.
Really plays into the film's theme of choice.
We play our game. Hufflepuff doesn't stand a chance.
This match has been cancelled.
What?
Well, of course it is. Only Gryffindor and Slytherin are allowed to play each other.
We don't cancel Quidditch.
Already here, Fudge.
Quality shift in music and tone as Lucius enters the room.
Then help will always be given at
Luscious.
Hogwarts to those who ask for it.
Clairvoyance and generosity.
How can you not smile at that scene, you know?
Nope.
Aragog.
Uh-uh.
Yeah, same.
Nah, no, thank you.
When I was a kid, this
I'm
scene
not even sure what's
freaked
happening
me
in this
out.
scene. Aragog said he's not the monster, but he's afraid of the monster. I don't believe him, and I hate everything about this. Every spider's biggest fear. Ford to the rescue.
Yep.
Glad we're out of there.
Did I mention no? Stop it.
Know one thing. Hagrid never opened the Chamber of Secrets.
Those of us with arachnophobia, thank you, Harry, for that summer. Something that
Appreciate
wasn't
it.
in the books that's a nice little addition to Lockhart's character. Because of course he has multiple hair pieces.
I was distraught.
Have to love the entrance hiding in plain sight and in a plain sight.
How I was too late to save the girl. How you two tragically lost
your
your minds
minds.
at the sight of her mangled body.
Just in case you were feeling
I like his
bad
little
for the
reveal.
coward, he gives you
It's
some
cool.
great reasoning to further despise him.
Foreshadowing,
And we
boys.
finally get the payoff of the slug spell from earlier. I feel the need to point out how insane it is how many underground locations there are throughout Hogwarts that none of the teachers can find. But the set design is phenomenal, even better than the third floor passage from the first film.
Albus Dumbledore is
But why throw the wand? Just out of curiosity. I mean, maybe he's just shocked because he sees Ginny, but he doesn't really know Ginny that well, right? I mean, he met her last movie, but I don't think she was like a big character in the last film, or even if she was a character. I know she was a character in the book. I don't remember if she was in the
sorcerer in
first
the
film.
world.
Loyalty. And thanks for the hat, Fox. Another really impressive combination of practical and CG effects.
Yeah, that shit looked great. I saw behind the scenes on the Basilisk, and it literally is a big ass animatronic that they put CGI on top of. It had a functioning jaw and everything. Really cool.
Brutal. A piece of continuity that likely went unnoticed by most. Every time the Basilisk strikes the rocks, his nose and jaw get a bit bloodier. They could have easily passed over it as if its nose was mostly indestructible. Brutal! You know, I can understand why Voldemort might not like Harry so
Sword of
much.
Gryffindor.
This is now the third time Harry's destroyed him, the first when he was a baby. Fox is a robot, but he was such a believable robot that Richard Harris actually said something to the effect of how
That's
impressed
Dumbledore,
he was
Richard
at how
Harris,
well they had
Dumbledore.
trained the bird.
Right.
Sufficient evidence to have you both expelled. It is only fitting that you both receive special awards for service.
I want to talk about him pulling out the Sword of Gryffindor out of the hat one more time, because this is the second film, okay? Second film in an 8-film series. And literally 6 films later, we get the biggest payoff of that when Neville, also the Chosen One. If you haven't heard that theory, I'll leave you a link in the description below where I talk about that theory on a different channel called Nerds. But the fact that Neville Longbottom, who's basically supposed to be the second Chosen One, pulls it out of the hat later in the series. That's like the biggest payoff, because we think that nobody can pull that sword out of the hat, because a big setup, right? They say that Dumbledore leaves Harry the sword in the 8th film, and he pulls it, and then Neville pulls it out of the hat at the Battle of Hogwarts at the biggest moment. That shit was just rad. It's such a big payoff.
Wouldn't be a Harry Potter movie without
Something
a
set up
disciplinary
6
takeout
films
reward.
before.
Dobby is free.
Dobby's free. Was he just about to use the killing curse on Harry?
Yeah, what a
Voldemort
joke,
would've been
right?
pissed, But thank goodness for Dobby. And oh, sweet vindication. Hermione's unpetrified. You can't help but get all warm and fuzzy watching these three interact with each other. You get a real sense of their friendship.
I'd just like to say thanks.
I love
After being
Hagrid,
accused of
man.
petrifying people, it's great to see Hagrid getting a little recognition. And Robbie Coltrane really nailed his performance again.
Yeah,
The
he's the
Philosopher's
perfect
Stone was
guest.
the origin story. Chamber of Secrets is the first true adventure. Since these books and subsequent movies were written with a growing audience in mind, which is genius by the way, each
Yeah,
entry gets a
super
little more
smart.
serious. I think most people would credit Prisoner of Azkaban with the darkest shift, but I think 1 to 2 is the biggest shift.
Yeah, Prisoner of Azkaban was darkest shift, and also like most quality filmmaking in the series. Like obviously, Alfonso Cuarón is an incredible director, and for them to hand this film franchise over to him after 2 very childish films to deal with a very like dark shift is so smart. And we'll be reacting to that soon.
The scariest things to happen in the first film were back of head guy who was dispatched by the power of love touch, and a dumb troll that the least capable wizard knocked unconscious. No offense, Ron, but
Hey,
sometimes you suck
he
at
becomes
wizards.
very
Still love
capable
you.
in the later in the series.
In Chamber of Secrets, we get almost murders, spiders that haunt my nightmares, and a more fully formed Voldy. I know I
Yeah.
joked about Voldemort being mad at Harry,
Love
but I
him.
do have some questions about the implications of Voldemort's consciousness and how a 16-year-old Tom Riddle actually fits in. I guess ultimately it's interesting that we get multiple incarnations of the same baddie. But since Magic Diary Tom dies here, future Voldemort wouldn't really know about this at all. Is he even aware of other Horcruxes' deaths? Just curious. I don't know. Magic creates loopholes all over, which I'm cool with.
Yeah, part of the
Because
deal.
magic. While the first movie was mostly about love with a dabbling of choice, Chamber of Secrets is firmly about the choices we make and how they define us even more than who we are or what our heritage is. That's why Tom is a teenager to give us some obvious parallels with Harry. Harry had all the same opportunities and powers to be as evil as Voldemort. Even the Sorting Hat says Harry would have
done well in Slytherin.
Instead, he uses those abilities like Parseltongue to save Ginny. Harry is still a great role model even if he...
So much crazy foreshadowing in all these films. I mean, you gotta give J.K. Rowling a lot of credit. I mean, the fact that the Sorting Hat thinks he should be in Slytherin, and he's killing a Horcrux in the second movie, and himself as a Horcrux, whether she meant it or not, she obviously meant that Lord Voldemort should be in Harry, and that's why he would do well in Slytherin, because there's a piece of Lord Voldemort inside him. It's incredible.
At least they do it for the right reasons. And it's fun to watch these characters and actors grow into their talent. As his last performance, Richard Harris deserves some praise. Whether you prefer Harris's Dumbledore or Michael Gambon's representation, it's interesting how they ended up playing out. Richard Harris
prefer
is much
Michael
more
Gambon,
soft-spoken
but
and
rest in
comes
peace,
off as
Richard
a
Harris.
wise old mentor, while Gambon seems to get angrier and angrier as the movies progress, which makes sense given the nature of each film's tone and threat. Either way, rest in peace, Richard Harris, and thank you for starting the series off right.
Absolutely.
Rowling's biggest strength as a storyteller is her ability to set up believable red herrings. She does it
Yeah.
in the first 4 books. This time it was Malfoy. Every time I think it's going to be a straightforward baddie, she pulls the rug out. I think the biggest lesson to learn is never trust a defense against the dark arts professor. Odds are they will betray you, fail you, or otherwise try to kill you. But we all learn something new every day.
With the exception of
Even
Lupin.
Malfoy.
I didn't know you could read.
Yeah, just Lupin, I think.
Sherbet lemon. Lemon. Sherbet.
Is that what that is? I have no idea. Alright. Great video. Shout out to CINEMAWINS. And I forgot to say this at the beginning, but there will be a link to the original video in the description below. Make sure you support CINEMAWINS because they do make great content, and I love watching them. So if you guys are enjoying this, please let me know. Leave me down a comment below. Leave a like on the channel. It really helps. Subscribe if you are new, and I will catch you guys on the flip side. Later.